In the depths of human consciousness lies a gateway to extraordinary mental performance, creativity, and peace. This gateway is known as the alpha state of mind, a brainwave frequency that has fascinated neuroscientists, meditation masters, and peak performance coaches for decades. What you're about to discover will fundamentally change how you understand your own mind and unlock capabilities you never knew existed within you. The alpha state represents more than just a scientific curiosity or a meditative achievement. It is the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind, the doorway to accelerated learning, profound creativity, and a level of mental clarity that most people only experience in fleeting moments. Throughout this exploration, we will journey deep into the mechanics of your brain, the ancient wisdom that predicted modern neuroscience, and the practical pathways that will allow you to access this powerful state at will. Understanding the alpha state begins with understanding the symphony of electrical activity constantly occurring within your brain. Your mind operates through billions of neurons firing in synchronized patterns, creating measurable electrical waves that scientists have categorized into distinct frequency ranges. These brainwaves are not abstract concepts, but real, measurable phenomena that correspond to specific states of consciousness and mental performance. At the foundation of brain activity are delta waves, oscillating between 0.5 and 4 cycles per second. These are the waves of deep, dreamless sleep, the realm where your body engages in its most profound healing and regeneration. Delta waves represent unconsciousness in its purest form, a state where the ego dissolves and the body performs its miraculous maintenance work. Rising from delta, we encounter theta waves, pulsing between 4 and 8 cycles per second. Theta is the twilight zone of consciousness, that drowsy state between waking and sleeping where dreams begin to form and deep meditation takes hold. In theta, memories consolidate, creativity flourishes in unexpected ways, and the subconscious mind becomes more accessible. Children spend much of their early years in theta, which explains their remarkable ability to absorb information and their vivid imaginative worlds. Then comes alpha, oscillating between 8 and 13 cycles per second. This is our destination, our focus, the state we seek to master. Alpha represents relaxed alertness, a mind that is awake yet calm, focused yet flowing. It is the mental state of an athlete in the zone, an artist lost in creation, a student absorbing information effortlessly. Alpha is where the magic happens, where the conscious and subconscious minds dance together in perfect harmony. Beyond alpha lies beta, ranging from 13 to 30 cycles per second. Beta is the frequency of normal waking consciousness, active thinking, problem solving, and focused attention on the external world. Most modern humans spend the majority of their waking hours trapped in beta, particularly in its higher ranges where stress, anxiety, and mental chatter dominate. Beta serves its purpose, but an existence confined solely to beta frequencies represents a mind operating far below its potential. At the extreme end of the spectrum, gamma waves vibrate between 30 and 100 cycles per second. Gamma represents heightened perception, peak cognitive functioning, and moments of profound insight. Advanced meditators show remarkable gamma activity, suggesting states of consciousness that transcends ordinary awareness. The alpha state occupies a unique position in this spectrum. It is the bridge, the connector, the gateway through which information flows between your conscious awareness and the vast reservoir of your subconscious mind. When you operate in alpha, you access resources that remain locked away during normal beta consciousness. You think more clearly, learn more rapidly, remember more accurately, and create more brilliantly. The discovery of alpha waves traces back to 1924, when German psychiatrist Hans Berger developed the electroencephalogram, or EEG, the first device capable of recording electrical activity in the human brain. Berger observed that when his subjects closed their eyes and relaxed, a distinct rhythm emerged in the recordings, a wave pattern cycling approximately 10 times per second. He named this the alpha rhythm, after the first letter of the Greek alphabet, recognizing its fundamental importance to human consciousness. Berger's discovery opened a window into the previously invisible world of brain function. For the first time in history, humans could observe the living brain at work, could see the electrical signatures of different mental states, could begin to map the terrain of consciousness itself. The implications were staggering, though it would take decades for the full significance to be recognized. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, researchers began connecting alpha waves to specific mental states and abilities. They discovered that experienced meditators showed abundant alpha activity during their practice. They found that moments of creative insight corresponded with bursts of alpha waves. They observed that people in alpha states learned new information more quickly and recalled it more accurately than those in normal beta consciousness. The 1970s brought an explosion of interest in alpha states, partly driven by the human potential movement and partly by advancing technology that made brainwave measurement more accessible. Biofeedback devices allowed individuals to observe their own brainwave patterns in real time and learn to shift their consciousness deliberately. For the first time, the alpha state moved from being something that happened spontaneously to something that could be cultivated and controlled. What researchers discovered challenged many assumptions about human consciousness. The alpha state was not simply a passive condition of reduced mental activity. Instead, it represented a highly organized, coherent brain state associated with optimal functioning across multiple domains. The brain in alpha was not doing less, it was doing different, accessing modes of processing unavailable to the beta-dominated mind. Modern neuroscience has revealed even more fascinating details about alpha waves. These rhythms originate primarily in the thalamus, a structure deep in the brain that serves as a relay station for sensory information flowing to the cortex. The thalamus acts like a conductor, orchestrating the rhythm that synchronizes activity across vast regions of the brain. When alpha waves sweep across the cortex, they create a state of readiness, a brain primed to receive, process, and integrate information with remarkable efficiency. Alpha waves also reflect an important shift in attention. In beta consciousness, your attention focuses outward, scanning the environment for threats, opportunities, and stimuli requiring response. This external focus served our ancestors well when survival depended on constant vigilance. But in alpha, attention shifts inward while maintaining awareness. You become less reactive to external stimuli while remaining conscious and alert. This creates the perfect conditions for deep work, creative thinking, and accessing subconscious resources. The benefits of achieving alpha states extend across virtually every domain of human experience. Creativity flourishes in alpha because the usual barriers between conscious and subconscious dissolve. Ideas flow more freely, unexpected connections form, and solutions to problems emerge seemingly from nowhere. Artists, musicians, and writers often describe their best work as arriving through them rather than from them, a perfect description of the alpha state experience. Learning accelerates dramatically in alpha. The brain becomes a more efficient information processor, capturing and consolidating new knowledge with less effort and greater retention. Students who learn to access alpha while studying report that material makes more sense, memory improves, and test anxiety decreases. The alpha state creates optimal conditions for the brain to encode new information into long-term memory. Stress reduction, represents another profound benefit of alpha training. Chronic stress keeps the brain locked in high beta frequencies, flooding the body with cortisol and adrenaline, degrading health and mental performance over time. Regular access to alpha states interrupts this destructive pattern, allowing the nervous system to reset, the body to relax, and mental peace to emerge. People who cultivate alpha states consistently report feeling calmer, more centered, and better able to handle life's challenges. Athletic performance reaches new heights when athletes learn to access alpha states. The phenomenon known as being in the zone corresponds precisely with alpha brain activity. In this state, complex movements happen automatically, time seems to slow down, and performance exceeds what seems possible through conscious effort alone. Professional athletes often work with coaches who help them cultivate alpha states, recognizing this as a key to peak performance. Problem-solving abilities enhance dramatically in alpha. The linear, logical thinking of beta consciousness has its place, but many problems require intuitive leaps, pattern recognition, and holistic thinking. Alpha consciousness excels at these tasks. The relaxed yet alert quality of alpha allows the brain to consider problems from multiple angles simultaneously, to access stored knowledge more flexibly, and to generate creative solutions. Emotional regulation improves with regular alpha practice. The alpha state creates distance from emotional reactivity without suppressing feelings. You maintain awareness of emotions while not being overwhelmed by them. This quality of consciousness allows you to respond to situations wisely rather than react impulsively. Over time, this builds emotional intelligence and resilience. The health benefits of alpha states extend beyond stress reduction. Research shows that regular alpha practice supports immune function, reduces inflammation, improves sleep quality, and may even slow aspects of aging. The deep relaxation of alpha allows the body to engage healing mechanisms that remain suppressed during constant beta arousal. The mind-body connection becomes vividly apparent when you observe how shifting consciousness produces measurable changes in physiology. Understanding why alpha states produce these remarkable benefits requires looking at what happens in the brain during this frequency range. Alpha represents a state of coherence, where different brain regions synchronize their activity rather than operating independently. This coherence allows for more efficient communication between brain areas, more effective integration of information, and access to a larger proportion of your total neural resources. In normal beta consciousness, the brain operates somewhat like a committee where everyone talks at once. Different regions process different aspects of experience, but coordination remains limited. In alpha, the brain functions more like an orchestra, with different sections playing their parts in harmony, guided by the rhythmic conducting of alpha waves. This organized activity produces cognitive and emotional states that feel qualitatively different from normal consciousness. Alpha also facilitates communication between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. The left hemisphere, traditionally associated with language, logic, and analytical thinking, tends to dominate in beta states. The right hemisphere, involved in holistic processing, pattern recognition, and intuitive understanding, gets overshadowed. In alpha, the hemispheres balance, allowing you to access both modes of thinking simultaneously. This is why alpha states feel both relaxed and insightful, both peaceful and productive. The relationship between alpha waves and the subconscious mind deserves special attention. Your subconscious contains vast stores of information, skills, memories, and wisdom accumulated throughout your life. But most of this remains inaccessible to conscious awareness most of the time. The alpha state opens channels of communication with the subconscious, allowing information to flow more freely between conscious and unconscious aspects of mind. This explains many of the seemingly magical qualities of alpha states. Memories long forgotten suddenly surface. Solutions to problems appear without conscious reasoning. Creative ideas arrive fully formed. Skills improve without conscious practice. These phenomena reflect the alpha brain accessing and integrating subconscious resources that remain locked away during normal consciousness. Ancient wisdom traditions discovered alpha states thousands of years before modern neuroscience developed the technology to measure them. Meditation practices from Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, and other traditions evolved specifically to access what we now identify as alpha and theta brainwave states. The ancient practitioners recognized that certain states of consciousness possessed special properties, that these states could be cultivated through practice, and that tremendous benefits flowed from regular access to these states. The Buddhist practice of shamatha, or calm, abiding meditation, produces strong alpha activity. Practitioners focus attention gently on a single object, such as the breath, allowing the mind to settle into peaceful alertness. This precisely describes the alpha state. The insights and benefits described in ancient texts correspond remarkably with modern findings about alpha consciousness. Yogic traditions developed elaborate practices for controlling consciousness, including pranayama breathing techniques and various forms of meditation specifically designed to alter brainwave states. The yogis understood that controlling the breath influences brain activity, that different breathing patterns produce different states of consciousness, and that these states could be used for healing, insight, and spiritual development. Taoist meditation emphasizes entering a state of wu wei, their effortless action, where the practitioner remains alert and aware while releasing striving and mental struggle. This description perfectly captures the quality of alpha consciousness. The Taoist masters recognized that peak performance and profound peace coexist in this state, that trying too hard actually impedes achievement, and that relaxed alertness represents an optimal mode of being. Indigenous shamanic traditions worldwide developed techniques for altering consciousness, often involving rhythmic drumming or chanting. Modern research shows these practices induce strong theta and alpha activity. The shamans understood that different states of consciousness provide access to different types of knowledge, and that healing and wisdom require journeying into these altered states. The convergence between ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience validates both approaches. The meditation masters mapped the territory of consciousness through direct experience over thousands of years. Neuroscience now provides technological confirmation of these maps and reveals the mechanisms underlying the phenomena the ancients described. Together, they offer a complete picture of alpha states and how to achieve them. Achieving alpha states requires understanding the factors that facilitate or inhibit their emergence. Alpha waves arise naturally under certain conditions and can be deliberately cultivated through specific practices. The key lies in creating the right internal and external environment for alpha to flourish. The most fundamental requirement for alpha states is relaxation. Not the relaxation of sleep or passive entertainment, but alert relaxation, where the body releases tension while the mind remains awake and aware. Physical tension blocks alpha when muscles contract, when stress hormones flow, when the fight or flight response activates. The brain remains locked in beta frequencies. Learning to relax the body deeply while maintaining consciousness opens the door to alpha. Mental relaxation matters equally. The constant stream of thoughts, worries, plans, and mental chatter characteristic of beta consciousness prevents alpha emergence. Alpha requires a quieter mind, not necessarily empty of thoughts, but not dominated by compulsive thinking. You must learn to observe thoughts without getting caught in them, to maintain awareness without getting lost in mental content. Attention plays a crucial role in accessing alpha. In beta consciousness, attention jumps constantly between stimuli, reactive and unfocused. Alpha requires focused yet relaxed attention, a gentle concentration that holds steady without strain. This quality of attention can focus on the breath, a visualization, a mantra, or any chosen object. The key is sustaining attention without force, maintaining focus without tension. Closing the eyes facilitates alpha because it reduces sensory input that keeps the brain in beta. Visual information demands significant processing resources. When you close your eyes, the brain shifts from external focus to internal awareness, and alpha waves naturally increase. This is why meditation practices typically involve closed eyes, and why alpha waves were first discovered when Berger's subjects closed their eyes. Environmental factors influence alpha states significantly. Quiet spaces support alpha emergence better than noisy, chaotic environments. Natural settings often facilitate alpha more readily than urban spaces. Temperature matters, as being too hot or too cold creates discomfort that blocks alpha. Creating the right environment makes achieving alpha considerably easier. The breath serves as perhaps the most powerful tool for accessing alpha states. Breathing patterns directly influence brainwave activity through multiple mechanisms. Slow, deep, rhythmic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, shifting the body from stress mode to relaxation mode. This physiological shift creates conditions favorable for alpha emergence. Specific breathing techniques have been refined over centuries for their consciousness-altering effects. Coherent breathing, where you breathe at a rate of 5 to 6 breaths per minute, powerfully induces alpha states. This pace, slower than normal breathing, but not uncomfortable, creates respiratory sinus arrhythmia, a phenomenon where heart rate varies with breathing in a way that promotes nervous system balance and alpha wave production. The 4-7-8 breath, where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, and exhale for 8 counts, produces deep relaxation and alpha activity. The extended hold and long exhale stimulate the vagus nerve, a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system. Regular practice of this pattern trains the nervous system to shift more easily into alpha states. Alternate nostril breathing, a yogic technique where you breathe through one nostril at a time, creates balanced brain activity and strong alpha production. Research shows this practice synchronizes the hemispheres and increases alpha power significantly. The technique involves blocking one nostril and breathing through the other, then switching, creating a rhythmic pattern that entrains brainwave activity. Box breathing, used by Navy SEALs and performance coaches, involves equal counts for inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Typically 4 counts each. This creates a perfectly balanced breathing pattern that centers the nervous system and facilitates alpha emergence. The symmetry and rhythm of box breathing provide an anchor for attention while producing physiological relaxation. Meditation represents the most direct and powerful method for achieving alpha states. Thousands of meditation techniques exist, but they share common elements that facilitate alpha emergence. All involve focused attention, relaxed awareness, and a gentle return to the chosen object of meditation whenever the mind wanders. Concentration meditation focuses attention on a single object with increasing steadiness. The object might be the sensation of breathing, a visual image, a sound, or a physical sensation. The practice involves noticing when attention drifts and gently returning focus to the chosen object. This trains the ability to sustain attention while remaining relaxed, the exact quality needed for alpha states. Mindfulness meditation cultivates open awareness of present moment experience without judgment. Rather than focusing narrowly on one object, you maintain broad awareness of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions as they arise and pass. This practice develops the observer stance characteristic of alpha consciousness, where you remain aware without getting caught in mental content. Mantra meditation uses repetition of a word or phrase to quiet the mind and induce alpha states. The rhythmic repetition creates a focal point for attention, while the sound vibrations may directly influence brain activity. Traditional mantras like Om or So-Hum have been used for millennia, though any word or phrase can serve. The key is gentle, sustained repetition that allows the mind to settle. Body scan meditation systematically moves attention through different body parts, releasing tension and cultivating present moment awareness. This practice combines physical relaxation with focused attention, both prerequisites for alpha states. As you scan through the body, noticing sensations without judgment, the mind naturally quiets and alpha waves increase. Loving kindness meditation cultivates feelings of warmth and compassion, first toward yourself, then toward others. This practice produces strong alpha activity while generating positive emotions. The combination of focused attention, relaxed awareness, and positive feeling states creates ideal conditions for alpha emergence while building emotional well-being. Visualization serves as another powerful gateway to alpha states. When you create detailed mental imagery, the brain enters a state similar to dreaming while you remain conscious. This naturally produces alpha and sometimes theta waves. Visualization also engages the subconscious mind, which responds to mental images as if they were real experiences. Progressive muscle relaxation systematically tenses and releases muscle groups throughout the body. This technique creates deep physical relaxation while maintaining awareness, facilitating alpha emergence. The process of deliberately tensing muscles actually helps you recognize and release chronic tension you might not otherwise notice. Biofeedback provides real-time information about your brainwave states, allowing you to learn what mental and physical adjustments produce alpha waves. Biofeedback devices use EEG sensors to measure brain activity and provide audio or visual signals when you enter alpha. Through trial and error, you discover what thoughts, feelings, and techniques generate alpha in your unique nervous system. Modern consumer biofeedback devices make alpha training more accessible than ever. Headbands and other wearable sensors connect to smartphone apps, providing immediate feedback about your brainwave states. While not as precise as clinical EEG equipment, these devices offer sufficient accuracy for alpha training. Regular practice with biofeedback accelerates your ability to recognize and reproduce alpha states without external feedback. Neurofeedback takes biofeedback further by using operant conditioning to train specific brainwave patterns. During neurofeedback sessions, you receive rewards like points in a game or changes in music or video. When your brain produces desired frequencies over multiple sessions, your brain learns to produce alpha states more readily. Research shows neurofeedback creates lasting changes in brain function, with effects persisting long after training ends. Music and sound offer another avenue for accessing alpha states. Certain types of music naturally induce alpha waves through their tempo, harmony, and emotional quality. Classical music, particularly Baroque compositions with tempos around 60 beats per minute, facilitates alpha emergence. Nature sounds like ocean waves, rainfall, or forest ambience create acoustic environments that support alpha states. Binaural beats present different frequencies to each ear, creating a perceived beat frequency equal to the difference between them. When you listen to a binaural beat in the alpha range, your brain tends to entrain to that frequency, producing alpha waves. While research on binaural beats shows mixed results, many people report them helpful for accessing alpha states. Isochronic tones pulse a single tone on and off at specific intervals, creating a rhythmic auditory stimulus. Unlike binaural beats, isochronic tones don't require headphones and may be more effective for brainwave entrainment. Isochronic tones in the alpha range can facilitate alpha state access, especially when combined with other techniques. Physical movement can paradoxically facilitate alpha states when performed with the right quality of attention. Yoga combines physical postures with breath awareness and present moment attention, creating conditions that support alpha emergence. The flowing movements of Tai Chi and Qigong, performed slowly and mindfully, generate strong alpha activity. Even walking meditation, where you move slowly while maintaining awareness of each step, can produce alpha states. The key to accessing alpha through movement is maintaining relaxed attention on the physical sensations of the body while moving. This splits focus between the physical activity and inner awareness in a way that naturally quiets mental chatter and promotes alpha waves. Athletes in the zone demonstrate this perfectly, moving with grace and power while their minds remain calm and alert. Hypnosis and self-hypnosis induce alpha and theta states through focused attention and suggestibility. Hypnotic induction typically involves progressive relaxation combined with guided imagery and verbal suggestions that direct attention inward. As the conscious, critical mind quiets, alpha waves increase, and the subconscious becomes more accessible. Self-hypnosis teaches you to guide yourself into these states without external assistance. Certain substances alter consciousness in ways that affect brainwave states, though these require careful consideration of legal, health, and ethical factors. Meditation and other natural techniques produce lasting changes in brain function without side effects or legal concerns. However, understanding how various substances affect alpha states provides insight into the neuroscience involved. Caffeine, widely consumed worldwide, suppresses alpha waves while increasing beta activity. This explains caffeine's effects on alertness and focus, but also why excessive caffeine consumption creates anxiety and interferes with accessing deeper states of consciousness. Moderating caffeine intake, especially in the hours before attempting alpha training, facilitates easier access to alpha states. Alcohol initially increases alpha activity as inhibitions, release, and relaxation occurs, but this effect reverses quickly as alcohol disrupts normal brain function. The alpha increase from alcohol differs qualitatively from naturally occurring alpha states and comes with cognitive impairment and health risks that make it an unsuitable tool for alpha training. L-theanine, an amino acid found in green tea, promotes alpha wave production without sedation. Research shows L-theanine increases alpha power while maintaining alertness, creating a state of calm focus. This explains the unique mental effects of green tea, which combines the alertness from caffeine with the alpha-promoting effects of L-theanine. The importance of practice cannot be overstated when learning to access alpha states. Your brain is neuroplastic, capable of forming new patterns and connections throughout life. Regular alpha training literally rewires your nervous system, making alpha states progressively easier to access and maintain. What initially requires significant effort eventually becomes effortless. Daily practice works best, even if only for short periods. 15 minutes of focused alpha training daily produces better results than occasional longer sessions. Consistency matters more than duration because you're training a skill, creating neural pathways that strengthen with repetition. Missing occasional days is fine, but establishing a regular rhythm accelerates progress dramatically. Starting with guided practices helps beginners learn the territory. Numerous apps, recordings, and online resources offer guided meditations and alpha training sessions. Following expert guidance prevents common mistakes and provides structure while you develop your own practice. As you gain experience, you can transition to unguided practice, having internalized the principles. Tracking your practice helps maintain motivation and reveals patterns in your progress. Many people keep a simple journal, noting when they practice, what techniques they use, and what they notice during and after sessions. Over weeks and months, you'll observe patterns like certain techniques working better at different times, or external factors that facilitate or inhibit alpha emergence. Creating a dedicated space for alpha training sends powerful signals to your unconscious mind, designating a specific location for practice. Even just a particular chair or cushion builds associations that make entering alpha states easier. The space need not be elaborate, but it should be quiet, comfortable, and free from distractions. Over time, simply entering this space begins triggering alpha states. Establishing a ritual around your practice further strengthens these associations. A simple ritual might include specific breathwork, lighting a candle, or playing particular music before beginning. These actions signal your nervous system that you're entering alpha training mode, facilitating the transition from normal consciousness to alpha states. Rituals harness the power of conditioning to support your practice. Patience proves essential in alpha training. The brain requires time to establish new patterns. Some people access alpha states easily from the beginning, while others need weeks or months of practice before experiencing clear results. Neither pattern indicates greater or lesser potential. The brain learns at its own pace, and pushing too hard creates tension that blocks alpha emergence. Common obstacles arise in alpha training, and recognizing them helps you navigate challenges. Falling asleep during practice indicates you need more sleep, or you're pushing too far into theta without maintaining awareness. If this happens consistently, practice at different times, sit upright rather than lying down, or use techniques that maintain more alertness while still inducing relaxation. Excessive mental chatter frustrates many beginners. When you close your eyes and try to relax, thoughts seem to multiply rather than quiet. This is normal and expected. The key is changing your relationship to thoughts rather than trying to eliminate them. When you notice thoughts, acknowledge them without judgment and gently return attention to your chosen focus. Over time, thoughts naturally quiet. Physical discomfort during practice distracts from alpha emergence. Experiment with different positions to find one comfortable enough to maintain for your practice duration. Using cushions, chairs, or props prevents discomfort from dominating awareness. Some physical sensation is inevitable, and becoming comfortable with minor discomfort without reacting proves valuable. Impatience undermines progress by creating tension and expectation that block alpha states. Paradoxically, trying too hard to achieve alpha prevents alpha emergence. The alpha state requires a quality of effortless effort, doing without forcing, focusing without straining. When you notice impatience arising, recognize it, breathe, and soften your approach. Doubt about whether you're doing it correctly or whether it's working creates mental static that interferes with alpha training. Trust the process even when you can't feel distinct shifts in consciousness. Brain changes occur before subjective experience reflects them. Continue practicing consistently, and results will come. Integration of alpha states into daily life represents the ultimate goal of alpha training, rather than alpha states being something special that occurs only during formal practice. You want to access alpha naturally throughout your day whenever beneficial. This requires extending your practice beyond formal sessions into everyday activities. You can access alpha states while performing routine tasks by applying the same principles you use during formal practice. Washing dishes, walking, or other simple activities become opportunities for alpha training when performed with relaxed attention and present moment awareness. This transforms mundane tasks into practice opportunities. Learning to access alpha with eyes open expands its practical applications. Begin with soft, unfocused vision, gazing at a point without intense concentration. This reduces visual stimulation while maintaining sight. With practice, you can enter alpha states with eyes fully open, allowing you to access this state while working, creating, or engaging with the world. Brief alpha resets throughout the day. Maintain mental clarity and emotional balance. Taking 60 seconds to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and drop into alpha provides remarkable benefits. These micro-practices prevent the accumulation of stress and mental fatigue, keeping you operating at higher levels throughout the day. Set reminders if needed until this becomes habitual. Applying alpha states to specific challenges maximizes their benefits. Before important conversations, drop into alpha briefly to center yourself and access intuition. When facing problems, enter alpha and hold the problem loosely in awareness, without trying to solve it consciously. Often solutions emerge. Before learning new information, spend a few minutes in alpha to prepare your brain for optimal absorption. The combination of alpha training with other practices creates synergistic effects. Physical exercise followed by alpha practice works wonderfully because exercise releases tension and creates physiological conditions favorable for alpha emergence. Journaling after alpha sessions helps capture insights and integrate experiences. Combining alpha practice with creative work dramatically enhances creative output. Sleep quality improves dramatically when you use alpha techniques before bed. Entering alpha states through breathwork or body scanning helps transition smoothly from waking consciousness to sleep. The alpha state serves as a bridge between beta consciousness and theta sleep states, making falling asleep easier and improving sleep architecture throughout the night. The relationship between alpha states and flow states deserves exploration. Flow, that experience of complete absorption in an activity where time disappears and performance reaches peak levels, correlates strongly with alpha brain activity. While flow typically occurs spontaneously during challenging activities, alpha training makes flow states more accessible and frequent. Alpha training builds the attention control and relaxed focus that characterize flow states. The ability to maintain concentration without tension, to stay present without getting caught in self-conscious thoughts, to perform complex tasks with an element of automaticity. These flow characteristics develop through alpha practice. Athletes, artists, and performers who train alpha access flow states more reliably. The distinction between shallow and deep alpha states matters for advanced practitioners. Shallow alpha, at the higher end of the alpha range, around 12 to 13 cycles per second, feels mildly relaxed but remains close to beta consciousness. Deep alpha, around 8 to 9 cycles per second, borders on theta and produces more profound effects. Both have value, and learning to navigate the full alpha spectrum expands your capabilities. Shallow alpha works well for situations requiring more alertness while benefiting from alpha's clarity and reduced stress. Deep alpha serves better for profound relaxation, accessing subconscious material, and deep creative work. Advanced practitioners learn to modulate their depth within the alpha range depending on their goals and circumstances. The alpha state facilitates learning through multiple mechanisms. In alpha, the brain releases acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter crucial for encoding new memories. Alpha waves also improve communication between the hippocampus, where new memories form, and the cortex, where they're stored long-term. This enhanced connectivity accelerates learning and improves retention. Accelerated learning techniques explicitly leverage alpha states. Superlearning methods developed in Eastern Europe during the Cold War used Baroque music, relaxation, and specific presentation techniques to induce alpha while teaching languages and other subjects. Students learned at rates 2 to 5 times faster than conventional methods. While some claims about superlearning prove exaggerated, research confirms that learning in alpha states significantly improves outcomes. Language acquisition particularly benefits from alpha state learning. The alpha brain becomes more receptive to new sounds, patterns, and meanings. Children, who naturally spend more time in alpha and theta states, learn languages effortlessly through immersion. Adults can replicate some of this advantage by deliberately entering alpha while exposing themselves to new languages. Reading comprehension improves dramatically in alpha states. When you read in normal beta consciousness, comprehension varies wildly depending on stress, distraction, and mental fatigue. Reading the same material in alpha produces better comprehension, longer retention, and easier recall. Students who learn this technique report studying becomes both easier and more effective. Memory recall accesses stored information more readily from alpha states. When you can't remember something, dropping into alpha and holding the question lightly often allows the memory to surface. This works because alpha opens channels to the subconscious where the memory resides. Instead of straining to remember, you relax and allow the information to emerge. Problem solving through alpha states accesses creative solutions unavailable to linear thinking. The technique involves clearly defining the problem while in beta consciousness, then entering alpha and holding the problem gently in awareness without trying to solve it. Often unexpected solutions emerge, sometimes immediately, sometimes hours or days later. This technique works because alpha allows the unconscious mind to work on problems using its vast pattern matching capabilities. Emotional healing occurs naturally in alpha states. Psychological wounds carry emotional charges that keep them buried in the subconscious. Alpha states create safe conditions for these emotions to surface and process. The relaxed awareness of alpha allows you to experience difficult emotions without being overwhelmed, facilitating integration and healing. Trauma therapies increasingly incorporate alpha state induction. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, or EMDR, uses bilateral stimulation to induce alpha while processing traumatic memories. Somatic experiencing and other body-based trauma therapies use breath and body awareness to access alpha while releasing trauma stored in the nervous system. The alpha state provides the perfect conditions for trauma resolution, relaxed enough to reduce defenses, but alert enough to maintain integration. Anxiety and depression respond positively to regular alpha practice. Anxiety reflects excessive beta activity, a nervous system stuck in threat mode. Regular alpha practice retrains the nervous system to settle, breaking the cycle of chronic anxiety. Depression often involves both excessive beta activity, manifesting as rumination, and insufficient overall brain activity. Alpha states interrupt rumination while gently increasing activation in healthy ways. Chronic pain management benefits from alpha training through multiple pathways. Alpha states reduce stress, which amplifies pain perception. They increase body awareness, helping you distinguish pain signals from pain anxiety. They facilitate relaxation that reduces muscle tension, contributing to pain. Advanced practitioners learn to enter alpha while focusing on painful areas, sometimes achieving remarkable pain reduction. The spiritual dimensions of alpha states deserve acknowledgement, though approaching this carefully respects diverse beliefs. Many spiritual traditions describe states of consciousness remarkably similar to alpha and theta, states characterized by peace, unity, insight, and connection. Whether you interpret these experiences through religious, spiritual, or purely neurological frameworks, the phenomena remain consistent. Mystical experiences often occur in deep alpha and theta states. Feelings of unity with existence, transcendence of ego boundaries, encounters with what feels like higher consciousness or divine presence. These experiences correlate with specific brainwave patterns. This doesn't reduce their significance, but rather suggests that these profound states of consciousness have neurological foundations. Prayer and contemplation, central to many religious traditions, induce alpha states. The peaceful, focused awareness of contemplative prayer creates ideal conditions for alpha emergence. The sense of connection, guidance, and peace that practitioners report may reflect alpha's effects on consciousness, though religious practitioners would likely emphasize divine presence rather than neuroscience. The alpha state, as a gateway to higher consciousness, reflects a perspective shared across traditions, whether described as cosmic consciousness, enlightenment, union with the divine, or awakening. These advanced states seem to require passage through alpha and theta frequencies. Alpha training thus serves not only practical purposes, but potentially spiritual development. Distinguishing healthy alpha practice from escapism matters for psychological integrity. Alpha states should enhance your engagement with life, not provide escape from it. If you use alpha training to avoid difficult emotions, responsibilities, or necessary actions, it becomes problematic. Healthy practice increases your capacity to handle life's challenges, not your need to retreat from them. The integration of insights from alpha states requires conscious effort. Profound realizations can occur in alpha, but these must be brought into daily life to produce lasting change. Keep a journal to record insights immediately after practice before they fade. Reflect on how to apply what you've learned. Take concrete actions based on alpha state insights to ground them in reality. Physical health optimization supports alpha state access and benefits from it. Good nutrition provides the raw materials for neurotransmitter production. Adequate hydration ensures optimal brain function. Regular exercise improves blood flow to the brain and facilitates neuroplasticity. Quality sleep allows the brain to consolidate learning and clear metabolic waste. These basics create the foundation for effective alpha training. Specific nutrients support brain health and alpha production. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish or algae oil support neuronal membrane integrity and communication. D vitamins facilitate neurotransmitter production. Magnesium supports nervous system function, and many people are deficient. Antioxidants protect brain cells from oxidative stress. While supplements can help, whole food sources provide the best nutritional support. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, promotes neuroplasticity and new neuron formation. Exercise, meditation, and intermittent fasting all increase BDNF levels. Alpha training combined with these lifestyle factors creates optimal conditions for brain development and optimization. The neuroplastic changes from regular practice literally rewire your brain for improved function. The autonomic nervous system's two branches, sympathetic and parasympathetic, must balance for optimal alpha access. The sympathetic branch activates during stress, danger, or excitement, preparing the body for action. The parasympathetic branch handles rest, digestion, and recovery. Modern life often overactivates the sympathetic branch, creating chronic stress that blocks alpha states. Alpha training strengthens parasympathetic activation, restoring balance to the nervous system. Heart rate variability, or HRV, measures the variation in time between heartbeats and reflects autonomic nervous system balance. Higher HRV indicates better stress resilience and easier access to alpha states. Regular alpha training improves HRV over time. You can measure HRV using smartphone apps and wearable devices, providing another metric to track your progress beyond subjective experience. The vagus nerve, a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system, plays a crucial role in alpha state access. This nerve runs from the brainstem through the body, connecting to major organs and influencing heart rate, digestion, inflammation, and mood. Stimulating the vagus nerve facilitates alpha emergence, deep breathing, humming, singing, cold exposure, and certain types of meditation all activate the vagus nerve. Polyvagal theory, developed by Stephen Porges, describes 3 states of the autonomic nervous system: social engagement, fight or flight, and freeze. Alpha states correspond primarily with social engagement, where you feel safe, connected, and able to interact with the world from a place of calm alertness. Understanding these states helps you recognize when you've dropped into alpha and when stress has pulled you out. Environmental toxins and electromagnetic fields deserve consideration for serious practitioners. While research remains mixed, some evidence suggests that electromagnetic radiation from Wi-Fi routers, cell phones, and other devices may interfere with optimal brain function. Creating spaces free from these influences, at least during practice, may support deeper alpha states. Similarly, reducing exposure to environmental toxins supports overall brain health. Circadian rhythms influence your ability to access different brainwave states throughout the day. Most people find alpha states easier to access in the morning after waking or in the evening as the brain naturally shifts toward sleep. Cortisol levels, which peak in the morning and decline through the day, affect consciousness. Working with your natural rhythms rather than against them optimizes results. Seasonal variations also affect brainwave states and mood. Reduced sunlight in winter influences serotonin and melatonin production, affecting consciousness. Many people find alpha practice more challenging during dark winter months. Light therapy, vitamin D supplementation, and adjusted practice schedules can help maintain consistent practice year-round. The role of intention in alpha training proves more significant than many realize. Your nervous system responds to intention and expectation. Approaching practice with clear intention focuses your unconscious mind on facilitating the desired state. Before each session, clarify your intention, whether general like access alpha state or specific like receive creative insight for my project. This simple act primes your nervous system for success. Expectation effects, similar to placebo responses, influence alpha training outcomes. If you expect to experience benefits, you're more likely to notice and receive them. This doesn't mean effects are imaginary, but rather that belief and expectation modulate how your nervous system responds to training. Cultivating positive expectations while remaining patient with the process optimizes results. The phenomenon of state-dependent learning explains why insights from alpha states sometimes feel distant during normal consciousness. Information encoded in one brain state recalls more easily in the same state. This is why returning to alpha can help you access insights received in previous alpha sessions. It also explains why regular practice creates cumulative benefits as you build a library of alpha state learning. Advanced practitioners develop the ability to enter alpha states rapidly, sometimes within seconds. This skill builds through consistent practice and results from neuroplastic changes that make the alpha state more accessible. Eventually, you establish neural pathways so strong that simply intending to enter alpha triggers the cascade of physiological changes that produce it. The concept of alpha state signatures recognizes that each person's alpha experience differs slightly. Your unique nervous system produces a unique version of alpha. Learning to recognize your personal alpha signature helps you know when you've achieved the state and when you've drifted out of it. This builds through experience and attention to subtle internal cues. Neuroscientists have identified specific cortical regions that show characteristic patterns during alpha states. The posterior cingulate cortex, part of the default mode network, shows decreased activity in alpha. The default mode network, active during mind-wandering and self-referential thinking, quiets in alpha states. This explains the reduced mental chatter and decreased self-consciousness of alpha. The prefrontal cortex, involved in executive function and conscious control, shows modified activity patterns in alpha rather than decreased activity. The prefrontal cortex operates differently, with better integration of information from other brain regions. This explains alpha's combination of relaxation and mental clarity, reduced effortful control paired with improved overall function. Thalamic pacing, as mentioned earlier, drives alpha rhythm generation. The thalamus sends rhythmic signals to the cortex, and the cortex responds with synchronized activity. This two-way communication creates the characteristic alpha pattern. Understanding this mechanism helps appreciate that alpha is not a passive state, but an active pattern of organized brain activity. The relationship between alpha waves and gamma waves reveals interesting complexity. While alpha represents a relatively slow rhythm, fast gamma oscillations often ride on top of alpha waves. Advanced meditators show this pattern strongly, suggesting that optimal consciousness combines alpha's relaxed awareness with gamma's heightened perception. Training both alpha and gamma produces synergistic effects. Individual differences in baseline alpha power affect how easily people access alpha states and how much training helps. Some people naturally produce strong alpha activity, finding alpha states easy to access. Others show weaker baseline alpha and may need more practice to develop strong alpha capacity. Neither pattern predicts ultimate potential, as neuroplasticity allows anyone to develop alpha abilities with consistent training. Age influences alpha production, with children showing different alpha patterns than adults, and older adults showing yet different patterns. Children naturally spend more time in slower frequencies, which facilitates their remarkable learning abilities. Alpha power tends to decrease with age, though regular practice prevents or reverses this decline. Older practitioners who maintain alpha training show brainwave patterns resembling much younger individuals. Gender differences in alpha production exist, but remain poorly understood. Some research suggests women naturally produce more alpha activity than men on average, though individual variation exceeds gender differences. These differences may relate to hormonal influences on brain function, though more research is needed. Regardless of gender, anyone can develop strong alpha capacities. Genetics influence brain structure and function in ways that affect alpha production. Twin studies show some heritability of brainwave patterns. However, genetic influences represent tendencies rather than destinies. Environmental factors, particularly practices like alpha training, exert powerful effects that can override genetic predispositions. Even if you inherited a nervous system less inclined toward alpha states, consistent practice produces dramatic improvements. Mental health conditions affect alpha production in characteristic ways. Anxiety disorders associate with reduced alpha and excessive high beta. Depression shows variable patterns, but often includes reduced alpha. ADHD typically involves reduced alpha during tasks requiring focus. Understanding these patterns helps explain why alpha training benefits these conditions and provides targets for neurofeedback interventions. Medication effects on alpha states deserve consideration. If you take psychoactive drugs, benzodiazepines increase beta activity while suppressing alpha. stimulant medications increase beta and may reduce alpha. Antidepressants affect neurotransmitter systems in ways that alter brainwave patterns. If you take such medications, understand that they may initially make alpha states more difficult to access, though consistent practice still produces benefits. The ethics of alpha state enhancement raise interesting questions. If technologies or techniques can reliably enhance consciousness, who should have access? Should there be guidelines for use? Could enhancement create unfair advantages in competitive situations? These questions parallel broader discussions about cognitive enhancement. Most people conclude that natural techniques like meditation raise few ethical concerns, while technological interventions require more careful consideration. Commercialization of alpha training creates both opportunities and concerns. Widespread availability of training tools helps more people access these benefits. However, marketing sometimes makes exaggerated claims or promotes expensive products with minimal evidence. Maintaining healthy skepticism while remaining open to legitimate innovations helps navigate this landscape. Fortunately, effective alpha training requires no expensive technology, just consistent practice. Cultural variations in alpha state practices reflect different values and beliefs about consciousness. Eastern cultures historically placed higher value on meditation and altered states, developing sophisticated practices over millennia. Western culture emphasized external achievement and rational thought, though this has shifted dramatically in recent decades. The global exchange of knowledge benefits everyone as Eastern practices gain scientific validation while becoming more accessible to Western practitioners. The integration of alpha training into education represents a promising frontier. Schools teaching students meditation and alpha techniques report improved academic performance, reduced behavioral problems, and better emotional regulation. Teaching these skills early establishes lifelong capacities for managing stress, learning effectively, and maintaining mental health. As evidence grows, more educational systems are incorporating these practices. Corporate adoption of alpha training reflects recognition of its performance benefits. Companies offer meditation rooms, mindfulness training, and even neurofeedback to employees. This benefits both organizations through improved productivity and employees through better well-being. However, this also raises concerns about commodifying consciousness and using practices designed for well-being primarily for corporate profit. Maintaining practice for intrinsic benefits rather than purely instrumental goals preserves their transformative potential. Athletic applications of alpha training continue expanding as more athletes recognize the competitive advantages. Sports psychologists incorporate alpha training into mental skills development. Athletes use biofeedback to learn to enter flow states reliably. The mental game increasingly determines outcomes at elite levels, and alpha mastery provides crucial advantages. Military and law enforcement applications of alpha training help personnel manage stress and perform optimally under pressure. Special operations forces use breathing techniques and meditation to maintain clarity in extreme situations. Police departments teach officers alpha techniques to reduce reactivity and improve decision-making in high-stress scenarios. These applications demonstrate alpha training's practical value in the most demanding circumstances. Artistic creativity reaches new heights through alpha cultivation. Writers, visual artists, musicians, and creators of all types report that alpha states unlock inspiration and facilitate flow. Many establish practices specifically designed to access alpha before creative work. The combination of relaxed awareness, reduced self-criticism, and enhanced access to subconscious material creates ideal conditions for artistic expression. Scientific creativity, also benefits from alpha states. Many major discoveries reportedly occurred during relaxed, alpha-like states. The story of Kekulé discovering benzene's ring structure in a dreamlike state, or Archimedes' eureka moment in the bath, reflect alpha consciousness. Scientists who cultivate these states report enhanced ability to see patterns, make unexpected connections, and generate innovative hypotheses. Relationships improve when both partners cultivate alpha states. The reduced reactivity, increased emotional regulation, and enhanced empathy that develop through alpha practice benefit intimate connections. Couples who practice together often report feeling more connected and handling conflicts more constructively. Even if only one partner practices, benefits extend to the relationship through improved communication and emotional stability. Parenting becomes more conscious and less reactive with alpha training. Parents face constant demands that trigger stress responses. Regular alpha practice builds capacity to remain calm during challenging situations. This allows you to respond to children's behavior from wisdom rather than reacting from stress. Children also benefit from being around parents who maintain calm, centered presence. Leadership qualities develop through alpha training in ways that create more effective, conscious leaders. The clarity, presence, emotional intelligence, and intuition that emerge from regular practice translate directly into leadership capabilities. Leaders who practice alpha training report better decision-making, improved relationships with teams, and enhanced ability to handle complex challenges. The alpha state's relationship to intuition deserves deeper exploration. Intuition represents knowledge that arrives without conscious reasoning, seemingly from nowhere. Alpha states facilitate intuitive knowing by opening channels to the subconscious, which processes vast amounts of information beneath awareness. In alpha, this subconscious knowledge can surface into consciousness, appearing as intuition, gut feelings, or sudden knowing. Developing intuition through alpha practice requires learning to distinguish intuition from wishful thinking, fear, or mental noise. True intuition feels different from these other phenomena, though describing the difference proves challenging. It often arrives with a quality of quiet certainty, without emotional charge, simply presenting itself as knowledge. Regular alpha practice clarifies this distinction through direct experience. Energy and vitality increase with regular alpha training. Despite the practice appearing passive, the deep rest of alpha allows the nervous system to recover from chronic stress, improving energy levels. Better sleep from evening alpha practice enhances daytime vitality. The mental clarity of alpha reduces the cognitive drain of constant mental chatter. Many practitioners report needing less sleep while feeling more energized throughout the day. The concept of alpha as a recovery state highlights another dimension of its importance. Just as physical training requires recovery for adaptation to occur, mental performance requires recovery states. Alpha provides active recovery for the mind, allowing integration of learning, consolidation of memories, and restoration of cognitive resources. Without adequate alpha time, mental performance degrades regardless of intelligence or effort. Biological age versus chronological age diverges based partly on stress levels and recovery. Chronic stress accelerates aging at the cellular level, damaging telomeres and promoting inflammation. Regular alpha practice provides the deep recovery that protects against stress-induced aging. Practitioners often show biological markers suggesting younger ages than their chronological years, maintaining cognitive function, physical vitality, and cellular health better than non-practitioners. The future of alpha training likely involves technological innovations that make access easier and training more effective. Brain-computer interfaces may allow direct feedback and eventually direct modulation of brain states. Virtual reality might create immersive environments optimized for alpha induction. Artificial intelligence could provide personalized training protocols adapted to individual nervous systems. However, the fundamental principles of alpha training will remain constant regardless of technological advances. Research into alpha states continues accelerating as neuroscience tools improve. Functional MRI reveals detailed brain activity patterns during alpha states. Magnetoencephalography measures electromagnetic fields with precision beyond traditional EEG. Optogenetics allows researchers to manipulate specific neural populations and observe effects on brainwave patterns. These tools steadily refine our understanding of alpha states and how to optimize them. The democratization of neuroscience through consumer devices creates opportunities for self-experimentation and personal discovery. You no longer need access to research labs to measure your brain waves or experiment with training protocols. This shifts alpha training from something mysterious and accessible only to meditation masters or neuroscience subjects to something anyone can explore systematically. This represents a significant evolution in human capacity for self-knowledge and self-optimization. Potential risks of alpha training remain minimal when approached sensibly, though awareness of possibilities helps you practice safely. Some people experience anxiety when first sitting with their thoughts during meditation, though this typically resolves with gentle persistence. Rare individuals experience depersonalization or difficulty integrating altered states, suggesting they should practice under guidance. If you have serious mental health conditions, consulting a mental health professional about alpha training ensures safety. The integration challenge that some practitioners face involves difficulty transitioning between alpha states and normal consciousness. If alpha practice becomes an escape, or if you spend excessive time in altered states, functioning in everyday life may suffer. Maintaining balance ensures alpha training enhances life rather than becomes a retreat from it. Most people naturally find appropriate balance, but monitoring for this potential issue prevents problems. Spiritual emergence versus spiritual emergency represents another consideration for deep practitioners. Profound experiences in altered states can trigger psychological processes requiring integration. While usually beneficial, intense experiences sometimes overwhelm people unprepared for them. Proceeding gradually, maintaining grounding in everyday life, and seeking support when needed prevents spiritual emergencies while allowing beneficial spiritual emergence. Teachers and guides serve valuable roles for serious practitioners, offering personalized feedback, troubleshooting difficulties, and sharing hard-won wisdom. While much can be learned independently, working with experienced teachers accelerates progress and helps avoid pitfalls. Finding qualified teachers requires discernment, as not everyone claiming expertise possesses it. Look for teachers with substantial personal practice, legitimate training, ethical behavior, and alignment with your values. Community support enhances alpha training. Through shared practice, mutual encouragement, and collective wisdom, practicing with others creates accountability and motivation, while allowing you to learn from others' experiences. Sangha, the Buddhist term for spiritual community, recognizes the power of practicing within a supportive group. Finding or creating such community, whether in person or online, enriches the journey. The practice of gratitude naturally produces alpha states, while alpha states facilitate authentic gratitude. The two reinforce each other beneficially. Gratitude practices, where you deliberately reflect on what you appreciate, shift consciousness toward positive emotions and present moment awareness, both conducive to alpha. Regular alpha practitioners report spontaneous gratitude arising more frequently, a natural consequence of the peace and clarity these states produce. Self-compassion develops through alpha training as you learn to observe your experience without harsh judgment. The non-reactive awareness cultivated in alpha extends to how you relate to yourself. Rather than criticizing yourself for wandering thoughts during practice or perceived shortcomings in life, you learn to meet yourself with kindness. This self-compassion proves essential for well-being and personal growth. The transpersonal dimensions of alpha states open possibilities for experiences beyond ordinary ego consciousness. Some practitioners report experiences of expanded identity, cosmic consciousness, or unity with existence. Whether interpreted spiritually, psychologically, or neurologically, these experiences can prove profoundly meaningful and transformative. Alpha training provides a natural gateway to transpersonal experiences for those interested in exploring these dimensions. The phenomenon of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that seem to connect inner and outer experience, appears to increase with regular alpha practice. Whether this reflects heightened awareness of connections always present or something more mysterious remains debated. Practitioners consistently report experiencing more synchronicities, often involving thoughts, intentions, or insights from alpha states manifesting in external circumstances. Manifestation and the law of attraction. Controversial topics often dismissed as wishful thinking gain new context through understanding alpha states. The subconscious mind, more accessible during alpha, powerfully influences behavior, perception, and choices in ways that shape outcomes. While alpha states don't grant magical powers to manifest desires, they do provide access to subconscious programming that determines much of what you create in life. Reprogramming limiting beliefs and aligning subconscious with conscious goals during alpha states produces real changes in what you manifest. The concept of witness consciousness, a state of awareness that observes experience without identifying with it, develops naturally through alpha training. This witnessing capacity provides freedom from reactive patterns and allows you to respond to life with greater wisdom. Rather than being caught in the drama of thoughts and emotions, you maintain awareness of them while not being controlled by them. This capacity proves invaluable for mental health and spiritual growth. Present moment awareness, so emphasized in mindfulness teachings, represents a key feature of alpha states. In alpha, you naturally drop out of rumination about the past and anxiety about the future, settling into now. This isn't forced or effortful, but emerges organically from the alpha state itself. Practicing alpha thus trains presence, making it progressively easier to remain grounded in the present throughout daily life. The dissolution of subject-object duality, a core insight in contemplative traditions, sometimes occurs in deep alpha states. The ordinary sense of being a separate self observing an external world softens or disappears temporarily, replaced by a sense of unified awareness. These non-dual experiences, once considered mystical or purely spiritual, show clear correlations with specific brainwave patterns, suggesting neurological foundations for these profound shifts in consciousness. Integration of shadow material, psychological aspects of yourself that remain unconscious and often unacceptable to conscious awareness proceeds more gently in alpha states. The relaxed, non-judgmental awareness of alpha creates safety for shadow content to emerge. Rather than being overwhelmed or defensive, you can observe and integrate these aspects of yourself. This psychological work proves essential for maturation and wholeness. The journey of alpha training ultimately leads beyond technique to a transformed way of being. Initially, alpha states feel special, different from ordinary consciousness, something you enter during formal practice. With continued training, alpha qualities begin permeating normal consciousness. You maintain more calm throughout the day, access flow states more readily, think more clearly, and respond more wisely to challenges. Eventually, the boundary between alpha practice and daily life dissolves. This integration represents the fruit of sustained alpha training. Rather than alpha being something you do, it becomes something you are. The neuroplastic changes from years of practice literally rewire your default mode of consciousness. Your nervous system learns to operate from this more optimal state naturally. This doesn't mean you never experience stress or challenges, but you meet them from a fundamentally more resourceful place. The paradox of alpha training is that you must practice with intention and discipline while simultaneously cultivating effortlessness and letting go. Initially, this seems contradictory. How do you try without trying? How do you discipline yourself into spontaneity? The resolution comes through understanding that early practice requires effort to establish new patterns, but once established, these patterns become effortless. You practice discipline to develop capacity for effortlessness. Your relationship with alpha training evolves through predictable stages. Beginning involves excitement mixed with frustration as you struggle to quiet your mind and access unfamiliar states. The intermediate phase brings increasing familiarity with alpha, accompanied by challenges of maintaining consistent practice and deepening your capacity. Advanced practice involves subtle refinement and integration, where alpha permeates life rather than being confined to formal sessions. Plateaus occur inevitably where progress seems to stall. During plateaus, maintaining practice without seeing obvious advancement requires faith in the process. These periods often precede breakthroughs as the nervous system consolidates previous gains before jumping to new levels. Rather than becoming discouraged during plateaus, recognize them as natural parts of development and maintain consistent practice. The support systems you establish determine your long-term success with alpha training. These include time commitments that protect practice from competing demands, physical spaces conducive to practice, communities that support your development, teachers who guide your progress, and personal rituals that facilitate state access. Building robust support systems early prevents practice from becoming one more thing you intend to do, but never quite manage. Measuring progress in alpha training involves both objective and subjective indicators. Objective measures include biofeedback data showing increased alpha production, changes in HRV indicating improved autonomic balance, and neurofeedback assessments demonstrating enhanced self-regulation. Subjective indicators include feeling calmer throughout the day, accessing flow states more readily, sleeping better, learning faster, and handling stress more effectively. The question of how much practice is enough has no single answer. Some people practice 20 minutes daily and achieve profound benefits. Others dedicate hours to practice. Generally, consistency matters more than duration. 20 minutes daily produces better results than 2 hours weekly. However, longer sessions periodically deepen your capacity beyond what short daily sessions alone provide. Finding the right balance for your life and goals requires experimentation. Retreats offer opportunities for intensive practice that accelerates development. Spending days or weeks in focused practice, free from normal responsibilities and distractions, allows you to access deeper states than daily practice typically reaches. Retreat experiences often prove transformative, providing direct experiences of profound alpha and theta states that motivate and inform continued practice. Even a single weekend retreat provides benefits that support daily practice for months afterward. The lifelong nature of alpha training reflects the fact that consciousness development has no endpoint. You can always deepen, refine, and expand your capacities. Advanced practitioners with decades of experience continue finding new dimensions to explore. This endless potential for growth makes alpha training not just a skill, but a path, a journey that enriches life indefinitely. Legacy represents an often overlooked dimension of alpha training. The changes you make in your consciousness affect not just you, but everyone you interact with. Your increased calm, clarity, and compassion ripple outward, influencing your family, colleagues, and community. Parents who practice alpha training model healthy consciousness for their children, potentially influencing generations. The collective impact of millions of people cultivating alpha states could transform human civilization. The alpha state, ultimately, represents your birthright, a natural capacity you possessed as a child, and that remains available throughout life. Modern civilization, with its stress, overstimulation, and constant demands on attention, pushes most people out of alpha into chronic beta arousal. Alpha training reclaims this natural state, restoring balance to your nervous system and consciousness. This journey requires no special abilities, just willingness to practice consistently. Your brain possesses innate neuroplasticity, the capacity to rewire itself through experience. Every session of alpha training strengthens neural pathways that make alpha states more accessible. Every moment spent in alpha teaches your nervous system that this state is safe and available. Over time, these incremental changes accumulate into transformation. The promise of alpha training extends beyond individual benefits to collective transformation. Imagine a world where most people possessed the calm, clarity, creativity, and compassion that alpha states cultivate. How would such a world differ from our current reality? While this may seem utopian, every individual who develops these capacities contributes to this possibility. Your personal practice participates in collective evolution. The invitation stands before you now. Everything needed to begin exists already within you. Your brain possesses the capacity to produce alpha waves. Your nervous system can learn to access these states reliably. The techniques described here provide pathways to follow. The only remaining question is whether you will accept the invitation and begin the journey. Starting today, this moment, you can take your first step into alpha training. Find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Take several slow, deep breaths and allow your body to relax while your awareness remains present. In this simple act, you initiate the process of reclaiming your natural capacity for optimal consciousness. The path ahead will challenge you at times, requiring discipline, patience, and persistence. It will also reward you beyond measure with increased peace, enhanced performance, deeper insight, and profound transformation. The alpha state awaits your discovery, a treasure hidden within you, accessible through practice, offering gifts that will enrich every dimension of your life. This is not the end, but the beginning. The knowledge you have gained here provides a foundation, but direct experience must follow. Reading about alpha states differs entirely from experiencing them. Intellectual understanding serves its purpose but must give way to embodied knowing. The journey from information to transformation requires practice, lots of practice, sustained over time. Every master of alpha began exactly where you are now, curious but inexperienced, hopeful but uncertain. What distinguished them was not special talent, but simple persistence. They practiced when motivated and when unmotivated, when progress came easily and when it didn't, until alpha states became second nature. This path remains open to you. The adventure of consciousness development awaits. The alpha state represents one territory in the vast landscape of human consciousness, but what a territory it is, rich with treasures, crucial for optimal functioning, accessible through dedicated practice. By cultivating your capacity to access and utilize alpha states, you unlock potential that might otherwise remain dormant throughout life. Your brain, that 3-pound universe within your skull, contains more possibilities than you can imagine. Alpha training provides keys to unlock some of these possibilities. The journey will change you in ways you cannot predict from the beginning. Trust the process. Maintain your practice and remain open to discoveries that await you. The human mind possesses extraordinary plasticity and potential. You stand at the threshold of developing capacities that will serve you throughout life. The alpha state offers a doorway to these capacities, a bridge to optimal consciousness, a gift you give yourself through committed practice. The future you who has mastered alpha access, who moves through life with enhanced clarity, creativity, calm, and capability, exists as a possibility waiting to be actualized through your practice. Every session brings that future self closer to present reality. Every moment spent in alpha rewires your brain toward this potential. The choice belongs to you. The path has been illuminated. The techniques have been shared. The science has been explained. The ancient wisdom has been honored. The invitation has been extended. What remains is your response. Will you accept the invitation? Will you begin the practice? Will you persist through challenges? Will you discover what lies within you, waiting to be unlocked? These questions only you can answer through your actions. The alpha state of mind awaits your arrival. It has always been there, will always be there. A natural capacity of your consciousness. The only question is whether you will claim it, develop it, and integrate it into your life. Make the choice that will transform your future. Begin the practice that will unlock your potential. Enter the state that will change everything. Your journey into alpha consciousness starts now.